up? It's Carla Marie. I am backstage at Key Arena with the wonderful Halsey. I do have to say, your fans, they're crazy in a good way.
Yeah, super.
We've been giving out tickets on our show.
Cool.
And non-stop texting. When are the Halsey tickets? When are the Halsey tickets?
Really?
Do you feel that love like at your shows, meet and greets, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, totally. It's definitely really prominent in the meet and greets. I think my meet and greet takes 2 hours.
I was just learning that. That's unheard of, so
Yeah.
you guys know. For most artists, people don't really do that.
And it's not that many people either. I just like to give everyone enough time. You know what I mean?
It's important.
Like, I just remember being a music fan and getting the chance to meet my favorite artist, or like an artist I really admired, and like you want so much more than just to be thrown into a photo and then pulled out of it and before you can even realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And I know how overwhelming it is. A lot of my fans, like, you know, if they're coming to the meet and greet, they have something to tell me. They've overcome something, they're proud of themselves for something, they want to share something with me, and so I just want to give them the opportunity to say that, because I know what it can mean to them to get it off their chest or to like proclaim it, you know, and it could change a person's life, being able to you know, admit something.
Absolutely.
In that way.
Who were those artists for you that you would have at least wanted to go to the meet and greet growing up?
I mean, I was like a pop punk music fan growing up, so I loved like Panic at the Disco a lot, and Brendan Urie I'm lucky enough to have as a friend now.
That's awesome.
And it's cool to go from like traveling up and down the East Coast, like seeing him as many concerts as I could, to like texting him and being like, yo, you want to come to my Halloween party and hang out with me? You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. But you know, there was so many. I mean, for me, a big thing was touring with Imagine Dragons, because I loved Imagine Dragons so much. And you know, one of the things I said to Dan Reynolds when we were touring together is, when I was in high school, I spent some time in like a mental health facility my senior year, and I was 17 years old, and when I got out of the hospital, all I could think about was how much I missed music, because I couldn't listen to music while I was in the hospital. And I got in the car with my mom, and the first song that came on the radio was an Imagine Dragons song.
That's wild.
And I loved them ever since that moment. And so when I was on tour with him, I said to him, I was like, hey, I know how hard it can be. I do the meet and greets too. I know that it can become like repetitive, you know. I was like, but as like someone who has no agenda, no reason to like, you know, gas you up about it, like your band meant so much to me. And I'm like, so I can't even begin to tell you what your music has done for me and like how it's brought me to this place in my life. And like, it can be easy sometimes as an artist to be like,
so how do you react to that?
You could be like, oh, they don't mean it, or they're just saying that because they're here, or like whatever, you know. But I was saying to him, I was like, no agenda, like I'm telling you this is real, and this is why I'm here on this tour with you. And it was really cool to share that with him. So I know what it means. So when I, you know, have fans in my meet and greet, it's like, who knows, they could be opening up for me on tour one day.
Seriously, you have no idea where they're going to be. I'm always amazed when artists are cool with sitting down just like this before a show, because in my mind, there are a lot of other things you need to be worried about right now.
Sometimes. Yeah, I'm really comfortable performing though. It's my favorite place to be is on stage. When I'm not on tour, I wish I was.
That's crazy.
Even though when I am on tour, I'm like, I'm so tired. And then like as soon as I'm off tour, I'm like, I love doing that so much. And I always joke around like I could walk on stage like and FaceTime my mom, or like write a grocery list, or like I'm just so calm and like present, and it's really awesome. So, you know, these days I don't really mind hanging out and like I said, taking the time with fans and doing interviews and stuff, because at the end of the day, like I get to go do something I really love, you know, and then I get to go to bed after, and there's nothing better than climbing into bed and being like, I really did the damn thing tonight, and it was fun, and everyone had a great time, and I get to do it again tomorrow.
And now I sleep.
Yeah.
So we were talking about earlier, we're both from Jersey, Jersey girls. Now you're growing up traveling, you know, you grow up in Jersey, now you travel everywhere. What are some of the craziest things you've realized kind of leaving the home or the East Coast? You know, you travel and not everything's the same.
No, it's definitely not. I think that when I first started touring, I toured for about 2.5 years straight. And it was the first time I'd ever left the country. And so I went, you know, all over the world. We toured 5 continents. It was really, really amazing. And the one thing that I learned is that I think because America is so isolated, I think that has a lot to do with, you know, maybe a lot of the prejudice that exists here, because you're scared of things you don't understand, and when you're scared you don't want to admit it, so you act in anger a lot of the time, you know what I mean? So being in other countries that have other countries in such close proximity to them, you realize meeting young people who grow up in Europe or grow up in South America, like their neighbors to the left and to the right of
Right.
them speak a different language and eat different
Yeah,
foods
we don't have
and like
that.
have different culture, and so they're way more accepting because they're exposed to it at such a young
Open-minded,
age.
yeah.
I also just fell in love with food, just like so much amazing food, like and I also learned that other countries are a lot better at not littering than us. We, like,
Well,
litter
you're in
a
Seattle
lot.
now. We don't do that
Yeah,
here. We have like
exactly.
7 different types of garbage bins. Have you noticed that at all? Have you got to explore Seattle?
A couple times. I spent my 21st birthday here. My 20th birthday.
Well, it depends. Were you at a bar? It was probably 21. If it was 20, you definitely weren't at a bar.
It was a strip club.
18
Down
to
the
get
street
in.
from
You're good.
here.
Probably,
So it was my
probably
20th
dream
birthday.
girl.
It was my first tour ever. I was on tour with the Kooks, which is an alternative band from the UK. And I was like a couple days into the tour, and I was at this dance bar with
They actually don't serve alcohol here
Yeah.
at those.
So I was only 20,
Yeah.
but I just remember looking around and I'm with this band that I really love that I'm getting to be on tour with, and I'm just like sitting there 20 years old with blue hair, and it's my birthday, and like, you know, I'm just looking around like, my life is so different now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
know? It was definitely really crazy. Good memory though.
But we do recycle a lot here. We have recycle, we have compost, all of it. So
Yeah. That's
Seattle's
funny that
good.
that's where that, I don't know how I ended
Yeah,
up
we
in
talked
strip
about
club. We were
recycling
talking
and you
about
went to strip club. I'm not 100% sure.
That's a classic me, is going somewhere that it wasn't supposed to go.
No, that's perfect. That is why you're you. That's why we love you. So off of Hopeless Fountain Kingdom, which song, you have to pick one, is your baby? Is your, no, you're not touching this one, it's mine, no one can ever say anything bad about this one, I love it, it's my favorite.
Okay, no, you said pick one, but I have to pick two. Okay,
I'll
Sorry
let
is
you.
one.
Okay.
Because I recorded Sorry in one take. I got in the studio, I got in the booth with Greg Kirsten, who's a brilliant producer and instrumentalist, and one of my favorite people to write with because he leaves me alone. He just like plays, he'll just play chords on the piano and let me, you know, he's not just trying to be like, what if we do this? I'm like, shh, just let me do it, it's my song, shh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be like that, I can kind of
I'm gonna do that at work.
right? He just lets me do my own thing, and we communicate through the music. You know, like when he changes the chords, like I can tell it's his way of telling me to go in another direction with what he's hearing me like sing in the room. And we were working on Strangers, and I went out to get some air, and I got a text message from someone I used to date, and they were like, "Hey, like I never really told you this, but like I really loved you, like I was in love with you," and I was like, I was not in love with you, and I didn't know you were in love with me either. And I was like, wow, I must have really hurt that person by not being like attentive and not realizing that maybe I was leading them on, or, you know, I wasn't as invested, and like it was easy for me to walk away from that relationship, but this is obviously something they've been really hurt about. And so the idea for Sorry, which is like this song about like you're apologizing to people, relationships that never really blossomed because you were too insecure in yourself to realize that how much they cared about you. You know, it's easy to write it off and be like, oh, they don't really love me. They say this to everybody, or they're like this with every girl. You know, you can rob yourself of a really great experience if you keep telling yourself you're not as special as they're telling you are. And so that's what the song's about. I went and recorded it in one take.
That's great.
It's really honest and you know, really vulnerable. And for me as an artist who's like, a lot of my music is like really heavily produced and electronic, and you know, to just do a song with a piano, just me and a piano, it's like really vulnerable and kind of me showing my chops as like a songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, this is just about a song, like bare bones, and that's really special. And then the other is Heaven in Hiding, which is really, I have it tattooed on me actually. Heaven in Hiding.
That's awesome.
This is like my favorite one. Just lyrically, it's one of those songs that like I go back to and I'm like, how did I think of that?
Did you ever, like, where did it start? We were talking about recycling, and then I had this song.
Yeah, no, it's totally one of those. It's like, lyrically, it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And it's like, the chorus is, when you start to feel the rush, a crimson headache, aching blush. And like, just these really, really, I think, beautiful metaphors. And I was kind of like, where did that come from? Like, where did I come up with
Doesn't
that
matter.
one?
You got it, and it's awesome, and you're crushing it.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously, thank you. We know everyone in Seattle is so excited for this show tonight. This crowd,
It's a big one.
they better show up. They better not disappoint.
No, we're actually really excited because it's one of the biggest shows of the tour. Go figure. Seattle came hard for me. I'm very excited.
Sweet, we'll go rock it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for hanging out with me.